From the beautiful city of Los Angeles, California, we bring you the Gimme 3 podcast.
Welcome back, cinephiles, cinema lovers, and movie appreciators to the Gimme 3 podcast, a series for cinephiles. This is the podcast where we talk about 3 movies connected by one theme. And before we get started, please note there will be spoilers in this episode. You've been warned. I'm your co-host, Bella Stratus, and with my wonderful co-host, Nicholas Ibarra, away again for another week. We miss you, Nick. I'm joined by 2 wonderful guests. We have Ashley Kae Snyder and Jessica McLaughlin to continue our 2-part series of the art of costume design. Ashley and Jess, welcome back. How are you guys doing today?
Pretty good. Pretty great.
Happy to be here again. Yes.
Yes, that 1,000%. Highlight of the day.
Yes. 10,000%.
Don't try to up me.
I love it. Yeah, long time no see. No, we are recording this back to back. So I wanted to give us a shout out for all our hard work watching 6 movies in 1 week for this series for y'all to enjoy. I hope you guys aren't burned out on costumes.
Us or the audience, because I could keep going.
Sorry, that was directed at you guys. Well, last week we talked about 3 films handpicked by each of us for their beautiful costumes. We started with Aiko Ishioka's extraordinary costumes in Tarsem Singh's The Fall, picked by Ashley. Then we had Shirley Ann Russell's bewitching designs in Ken Russell's 1971 cult classic horror, The Devils, picked by Jessica. And then we closed out the show with Colleen Atwood's Oscar-winning whimsical costumes in Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland, picked by myself. This week, Ashley has generously picked 2 more incredible films with equally incredible costumes to discuss in this episode. And for our third, we're diving into the audience pick, a film that all you lovely listeners voted for in the Gimme 3 Instagram polls. So thank you so much for your votes. Very excited. In fact, we're going to start with this one. Are we ready to dive in?
Please. Right off the cruise ship. Let's dive right in.
So, yes, it was the Instagram poll. It was down to Hackers, Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, 2 fantastic options, also provided by Ashley. Thank you very much. But the film that came out on top is Yorgos Lanthimos' Poor Things. We actually talked about this one way back in episode 3 of Gimme 3 during our Favorites of 2023 episode, only our 3rd episode, which is so crazy as we're coming up on our 100th pretty soon. So stay tuned for a special episode there. But of course, for our favorites of 2023, I had to include it. This was a huge standout film that year. And if you guys haven't listened yet, you should check out that episode to hear what other movies Nick and I chose. It was just such a great year for cinema. On that episode, we didn't have nearly enough time to talk about the costumes alone. So I'm one of my favorite aspects of this beautiful film. So I'm very excited to have the chance to do so right now. But first, just a little intro for our listeners who may not be familiar with the film. So in Yorgos Lanthimos' stark surrealist comedy, Poor Things, Emma Stone stars as Bella Baxter, a woman brought back to life by an eccentric scientist who then embarks on a wild, globe-trotting adventure of self-discovery, sexual liberation, and her constant defiance of societal norms. Every step of Bella's journey is heightened by the equally beautiful and horrific world she's introduced to, a world that is created by stunning, bold, beautiful colors and surreal production design. But at the center of this visual spectacle is Holly Waddington's extraordinary costume design. In fact, Waddington took home the Academy Award for Best Costume Design this year for Poor Things. It's a beautiful, unconventional, feminist tale and has some of the most incredible visuals I personally have ever seen. Jess and Ashley, what did you guys think of Poor Things in general, but then of course the costumes?
I mean, I'll go first. I mean, I love Poor Things. The famous Nick Ibarra, when I saw Poor Things, I was talking to him about how much I loved it, and I think he said something along the lines of like, "It was my Barbie," or something like that.
Yes.
Yes. So it was like, you know, he was like, "Yeah, it would make sense that Poor Things would be like your Barbie, Jessica," and I would be like, "Yeah." I do. I see a lot of like, you know, I connected a lot more emotionally with Poor Things than I did with Barbie. And it's just, I don't know, there's so many levels that this movie operates on, you know, just an excellent frequency. And then, you know, the costumes are no different.
When I first saw Poor Things, I was flabbergasted. I was stricken with the disease that I've always wanted. Like,
Oh, I love that.
give it to me. I want the disease. The disease of Poor Things. But I'm a slut for sheer fabrics, and I'm also a slut for period costumes. And the way that this combined the two, I was just like, because like a lot of the designs I had been working on through grad school incorporated sheer fabrics, and so it was just like, this is what I want to make. This is
It was made for you.
and then to see like that was getting made and then getting the acclaim that it deserved, I was just like, okay, so people want to see this. People are interested in this. People are inspired by this. I've got a future. Like,
Yes.
in the way of like, yeah. Well, and then I was like devastated to find that the designer was from the UK, and I was just like, damn it! It would be so hard to get to work with her, like, you know, just like visas and stuff. But yeah, just felt very inspired and like I was headed towards something equally exciting in my own journey. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, I loved this movie. It's one of those that when you first see it, you'll never forget it. First time I watched it, I almost felt frustrated because I couldn't give attention to everything that I wanted to, because there's so much beauty.
Like everything at once.
Exactly. I was like, okay, wait, I'm just trying to keep up with the story they're feeding me. But I was like, oh my God, look at that dress. Or like, oh, look at the production design, you know, look at her room. And there's so much to be explored in every single frame. So it was so much fun to come back to this and really get to hone in specifically on the costumes, because they are so spectacular. And there's so much to unpack there. And I think, Ashley, you started touching on like the fabrics specifically, which I loved, because there's so much texture and there's also such a beautiful palette. And I was reading about Holly Waddington, like her inspirations for this, and she kind of mentioned being very inspired by like organic materials and colors. And she specifically mentioned like seashells or sea creatures, which I didn't like. That wasn't the first thought that came to mind, but as soon as I heard that, I was like, so many of her skirts kind of do look like conches, or like, I don't know if that makes sense, you know, like the exterior of a shell.
Yeah. As far as like fabrics go, and when Jess and I were watching this, we kept pausing to like, are you noticing that? Yes, I'm not, like, kind of compare notes of like what we were absorbing from the film. But the choice of fabrics for Bella, in contrast to the like wool suiting that the men around her are wearing, really helped to tell the story of where her character is at mentally. When we see the like crepe material or like the quilted fabrics, it's just, you had a really great way of describing like what it was telling the audience as far as her fragility.
Oh, yes. Like early on, in the film, still in the black and white section, a lot of like Bella's clothes have this extensive quilting, which made me think of like baby blankets or padding. So it was almost like a sense of armor, or this like padding for her against the outside world because she was, still being shielded, and wasn't going outside.
Mm.
It's she also, I think, like, she has one robe that I really love. It was kind of like a satiny robe with like these like lines, and then she's like wearing that. I think in her first interaction with the outside world when she meets like Duncan on the roof or something. Or maybe she goes with Max. I forget. Already, I forget.
It's with
It
Max.
was with Max.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's when she goes. Yes, when she's like she wants to go outside. She wants to see the world. So yeah, it made me think of like, if we're drawing parallels, to last episode, Alice's armor.
Yeah.
Yeah, the baby version.
I feel like these two films, costume-wise, or those two are weirdly similar because they totally do, like, the costumes do convey the main character's journey. Like, you can get the story from that. And yeah, whether that's like in the fabrics or even just the way, one thing I love about this is how natural it's like, even though it's so whimsical and surreal and bizarre designs, there's like a natural effect to it where it's like, oh, you can tell Bella's dressing herself.
Yes.
And like, oh man, just that journey of, when we're first introduced to her, she looks like an overgrown baby. Like she's wearing like basically a diaper and like a onesie. I mean, in like a cool fashion way, but it's apparent that she's like a baby or a toddler just waddling around tasting things and trying things, like anyone fresh out the womb.
Well, and also like she in the first couple scenes, she's literally wearing like a baby doll dress. I like turns to Ashley and I was like, she's wearing a baby doll dress.
Yes, Bella's character arc is really apparent through her costumes. Where like she's starting off in this baby padded armor in the baby doll dresses. And then there's this one moment where she puts on like a full head to toe look when she goes to talk to God about like the fact that she's running away with Duncan. And I think it's so funny. It reminds me of like when you're about to go confront your parents like about something or like ask them for something and you're like, okay, I must look like my adult self, and like it just looks really like she's trying. She's trying to look like she's got her shit together, and she doesn't, but like it's fine, it's good enough, and hopes that she convinces God. And then like but besides that one moment, like she falls back into this like infantile or almost toddler-esque sort of moment of like everything she's putting together makes no sense within the period.
Yeah.
And it's very much like I've got my
shorts.
My mismatch overalls and shirt, and then I've also got my clicky clacky princess heels, and like which is always kind of like when you see kids in like a grocery store and you're like, oh god, you dressed yourself and good for you. Like good for you and your self-expression.
Totally. Oh my god, I love that. When you said the little heels and like walking out, the grocery store fit, I feel like is the one where she's got little heels, but she's also wearing like these little yellow shorts.
Yes, they're like underwear shorts. Drawers.
Yes, and then like her classic ruffled like sleeveless blouse, which she wears almost every time.
With no corset.
Never a corset, God forbid. And then she's got this her little like shrug with puffy sleeves. It literally reminds me. I think I have a photo of my 3-year-old self wearing this exact outfit.
Probably.
But oh my god, I love that outfit. And then you've got her long hair. It's beautiful in like such a funny way as well.
Yes.
Which really matches, I mean, just Yorgos's whole vibe as well.
Yeah. Well, and then you get to see her kind of go into her like 5th grade self in a way of like when she then, or like maybe her middle school self, where she's it's the scene where she dances with Duncan and she's wearing that sheer pink ruffle lobster sort of thing in the back, and then where it's kind of like uncertain about what it is, but it's at least like a head to toe thing.
Mm-hmm.
My mentor Camille Benda told me something about like fashion history where sheerness within the context of like fabrics and fashion usually is a sign that like fashion itself is in limbo. It's kind of not decided one way or another where we're at.
Oh, interesting.
And it's like on the brink of change and experimentation. And so I think it like within the context of this film makes so much sense for her character, where it's like she's constantly like changing and experimenting and like uncertain about where she is or like who she is within society, and it just feels so right.
Oh, yes. I love that.
Like she's not quite dedicated to like an opaque fabric until later when she grows into her like full woman, and then
Yes.
we see her in these thicker or opaque fabrics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the sheerness is kind of like this, and like showing of skin is both like experimentation and it's like if we're still using the baby blanket armor example, you know, like the more that she was covered and like had these layers protecting her from the outside world, like the more that she is revealing herself, it's like the more she's experiencing things and deciding who she is as a human.
Mm-hmm.
She wants to be. And then, you know, towards the end, she, you know, starts like putting more clothes on again.
Yeah.
But they're purposeful. They're like, you know, it's in the vein of like who she wants to be, minus the whole Victoria Blessington thing, where she's obviously like fabulous dresses, fabulous looks, some of the best colors of like the whole movie. But they are like very, in kind of what you were saying, Bella, if we're looking at like more natural or muted or like these kind of, it's a different color story than like
Yes.
the rest of the movie. Like the Victoria Blessington stuff feels very like opulent and like jewel tones, and it's just a different page out of the book.
It also feels like very sharp and dangerous.
Yes.
Yeah, sharp, pointy lines on her sleeves rather than like the soft, puffy clouds of her previous costumes. And then, yeah, Jess, like the colors are jewel tones, where it made me think of kind of almost like Evil Queen vibes. Like Her Majesty, but not in the good way.
Yes, Her Evil Majesty.
Yeah. Whereas Bella had like such a kind of sweet, innocent color palette. I mean, a lot of the time she's wearing yellow as well, which I feel like is very like joyous or sunshine, innocence.
Yeah. I think it's also so terrific that we spend so much time with Bella and really get to know her and see that part of who she is for such a long time before we're really introduced to who Victoria is, and you are able to then like take in the differences of like, oh, well, because it's kind of talked about how like she brings up like I am not this Victoria. And then we see it when she tries to be Victoria.
Yeah.
It's just like she doesn't fit in the, like, it just feels so out of place and so uncomfortable.
Yes, 100%.
you were also talking about, you had a really good thought about Felicity, the second experiment, Ashley, when Margaret Qualley,
Oh, yeah.
her character.
Yeah, so Felicity, the other experimentee, she is always dressed in full outfits. Like, we never see her in, like, a baby or toddler sort of way. I mean, through her actions we see it, but through her costume we do not. And I think it's really interesting because I'm just wondering, like, is this to showcase that Felicity has no initiative for self-growth or discovery, and she's just kind of accepting whatever God decides to put her in? Or is it that God is not giving her this sort of agency?
Oh, that's so interesting. Yeah.
I think it also just helps us really love Bella more in the way that, like, we see a fully developed, multifaceted human within her versus Felicity feels flat.
Yep.
And failed in the sense of their experiment.
Yeah. And like Godwin can't connect with her in the way that he did with Bella. He's like, she's literally no different than the French bulldog duck mix that I have in the backyard. Where it's like a duck's head on a Frenchie or something like that.
I love those.
Or maybe it's swapped, but I love such a great touch. What was it?
I think it was like a chicken, because so when Bella was like riding around on her bike and saying words, I always just thought she was just like saying random sounds. But in the subtitles, it was saying chog. And then she like later in another line like mentions that like chog, that's like the chicken dog. And I was like, what? I never knew.
Oh, that's so cute.
That is so cute.
That's her puppy.
It's her puppy. She was like riding around and going chog, 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 because she was talking to the chicken dog.
Oh, her life is so fucked up.
I don't know. I want a chog. You get eggs and cuddles.
Oh, that's so great.
Ashley's gonna officially petition for a chicken dog for Christmas.
Yeah, Jess is gonna want a cat. I'm like, oh, let me take your cat and raise you a chog.
Oh my god. I will I'm gonna throw in a hard left turn.
Okay, do it.
To that of Mr. Duncan Wedderburn.
Oh
yes.
And in general, I just want to say, like, I have been a big Mark Ruffalo fan for a long time. He's also a very lovely person. I was able to meet him very briefly at like a fracking protest my first year of undergrad.
Amazing.
And he was very lovely. And when he showed up on screen, I was just like, oh, what's this character going to be like? Because he's basically, you know, he's a cad, he's a rake, like, and that's just so not Mark Ruffalo in a lot of the stuff that he normally, like, the roles that he gets, like, I guess typecast a little bit.
Yeah.
And boy, what a lovely surprise he is. Every time I watch this movie, I always forget how goddamn funny he is. He is so good. And like Emma Stone's performance is also absolutely revelatory. But like, I love Mark Ruffalo in this movie so much.
Yeah.
Yes. And I can't imagine anybody else playing Duncan. And his looks are iconic. Also, Ashley and I, when we were watching, at the very same moment, we looked at each other in the Lisbon sex frenzy when they have the shot of his girdle.
His girdle, yes. Oh.
His girdle.
I love it because it's just like fragile masculinity and like vanity.
Yes.
It tells you so much about the character.
And especially for modern audiences, because like men in like Victorian times or like Edwardian times, they would wear these girdles, but like as a modern audience, to see a man wearing that, you're just like, oh gosh, you must really hate yourself. Because we don't see it on men now, and
Right.
I wish we did.
right? Give me that V. Give me that Dorito.
Oh, that's
You
so
heard it here
funny.
first. We're gonna start a new
Mhm.
campaign. Bring back the girdle. The man girdle.
The myrtle. Yeah. Well, it's also like with his costumes, I feel like first off, without him kind of catapulting Bella into making this big change for herself, he also like, I mean, not him himself, but like through those actions, color is now in the world.
Yes.
And he's also the first character that I feel like we see patterns and fine fabrics in.
Yes.
Like his satin or like silk that he wears, and then like the patterns on his, I can't remember what he's wearing the first scene. Is it like a cravat or something? But it's like really beautiful patterns, and like everyone else is in like plain, really beautiful textures, but like plain colors.
Yeah, solids. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was great.
Yeah, his suits are underappreciated, I feel like.
Yes.
In
And
this
well,
film.
yes. And then when they end up on the cruise ship and he's kind of abducted her.
Yeah.
Brought her onto a cruise ship in a trunk.
Surprise, honey.
He's wearing a green suit, like this like slimy green suit, and I'm just like, oh, he's a slimy bastard. He's a slick slimy bastard. And like then we see Bella wearing this green robe, and I'm just like, it's like he's imprinted on her, or like branded her. She wears this green color, like she's a part of this mess that he's forcing her to.
Oh, I love that. That's so interesting.
I also like how if Duncan Wennerberg is bringing in like the color and the luxe fabrics and the fanciness in a way, then you have, you know, her friends on the ship are kind of like this, they up the ante, because you also have like Harry Astley's you know, played by Gerard Carmichael, like has these phenomenal suits, like, you know, these three-piece suits, like with like a vest with like this waffling pattern, like it's so good and textural. And so he looks like, you know, he's blowing Duncan out of the water most days. And then also, I believe is the character's name Martha, like with her headpieces, like like, so they're serving looks and also friendship.
Yes, I love a good served friendship.
Oh yeah.
You've been served with my friendship.
Well, check it out, y'all. You can watch it right now on Hulu. Probably at your local video stores, you know. Pay them a visit. Check it out. See what you can find. Alrighty.
Okay. 1992's Orlando, directed by Sally Potter, based off of the book written by Virginia Woolf. Costume designed by Sandy Powell and Dean von Strahlen. So here's a little bit about the story of Orlando. Orlando embarks on a trek of self-discovery that spans centuries. After being asked by British monarch Elizabeth I to never change, Orlando does both that and not that at all, keeping their youth and tossing ideas of sex aside as they begin to understand the difficulties of living within the binary. Tilda Swinton sweeps us away with the help of beautifully detailed historical costumes co-designed by the beloved Sandy Powell and Dean von Strahlen. Costumes playing a vital role in shaping our understanding of when we are as well as where we are. Yeah, what are you guys' thoughts on Orlando? I think this was the first time both of you have seen this. Yes? No?
Yes.
Okay.
This was a first, which is so exciting. Well, I'm preface this next statement with the small tangent. Like my incredible co-host Nicholas Ibarra, I too have been called out for my very generous star ratings on Letterboxd. If you look at my diary ratings on there, it's mostly 5s and 4s.
Oh, you're so generous.
You could say that I only watch bangers, but you know what? It's fine. I've been trying to dish out less 4s and 5s unless they are truly the greatest movies I've ever seen. And I was so excited to confidently and wholeheartedly give this movie a big old 5 stars. I fucking loved this movie.
Aw.
Yeah, this was one of those watches where literally as the credits came on, which also, side note, fantastic 90s end credits song going in there.
Yes. The whole film was just like great little 90s instrumental.
Yes, it's so good. Credits are rolling and I'm like, should I just run it back right now? Like I was ready to rewatch it right after it ended
Wow.
because I just loved it. Something about this movie, it like changed my brain chemistry. Like it had my brain, my body and emotions working overtime. It was so thought-provoking. It was so moving.
Mhm.
And then of course the visual artistry, from like the cinematography to the set design to the scenery, the performances, and then the most undeniably brilliant costumes. It's just, in my opinion, it's a true masterpiece, and an absolute must watch for our listeners who haven't seen it yet.
It might be one of my favorite Sandy Powell costumes.
It makes me want to watch more, like all the movies that they've made costumes for.
And you should.
Orlando, I feel similarly, Bella. Like, it was my first time watching it. I had not even heard of it until Ashley was telling me about it and was discussing kind of the films that they were being drawn towards. And, you know, I know there's a lot of people, like, I've always loved Tilda Swinton,
Mhm.
and I know there's a lot of people that love Tilda Swinton.
Mhm.
And there's also people that have been, like, very sexually attracted to Tilda Swinton, and I've never really understood why. And then I watched Orlando.
Yeah.
And I was like, I see it.
Yeah.
I see it now. It's just like Tilda Swinton on a whole nother level. Tilda Swinton's eyes changing color the entire movie. How's that happen? I don't know.
Wait, what? That happened? I did not notice that.
I don't know if they actually did, but it looked like her eyes were changing. Like, I don't know. Maybe it was a trick of the lights. I don't know.
No, that's how I felt too. I was like, is this intentional?
Right?
I don't know.
Maybe it is.
I don't know. And also just like from the first opening scene and the first opening shots, like I have on my notes Tilda doing the bleach brow before it was cool. Like and also her eyes are like otherworld. Like I just the way that Tilda Swinton was photographed in conjunction with the costumes.
Mhm.
Like at every point, I was just like, Tilda looks like a gorgeous alien. Like it's like
Yeah.
early David Bowie vibes. Like
Mhm.
it was just so good. And yeah, I very much enjoyed the filter story as well.
Mm.
As I just
So much to discuss.
Well, just the idea of like a person hopping through time, finding themselves. It's just not, it doesn't happen. and to then see it visually, it's like, wow, how strange would that be?
Yeah.
It's also just like so, and I said this to you, Ashley, when we finished watching it, it feels like if you made this today, it would be groundbreaking. Like I can't believe that this was made like in 92.
Yeah.
It still is a brain breaker of just like how amazing.
Yeah, it's so shockingly timeless.
Yes. I really loved the bookend aspect too, where Orlando starts off in these like rust-colored tights and pumpkin breeches. And it's also like a great little moment of like a modern audience seeing their like full leg, when in like Elizabethan times that was very regular for a young man to show off their legs. But as a a modern audience, you're like, oh, that's very feminine. Like, and so it's playing with our minds of like, oh, is this a woman? But I don't think so. It's like, you don't really kind of know. And then at the very end, when in the 90s, when Orlando comes back to the estate with their daughter, and also the daughter is very androgynous, but they're wearing these like rust-colored jodhpurs that have like a very similar shape to the pumpkin breeches and the tights in the like the field of grass next to that big tree, and it's just like such a beautiful little bookend, and like so much has happened and like centuries have passed, and Orlando was the same person but also has gone through so much and has like changed sexes, and like it's just kind of so beautiful to get to end, and then end in that state of just kind of like there's silence, and you sit there with everything you've just felt throughout the whole film. It's really beautiful.
Yeah, and it feels like the perfect moment of like kind of self-love and self-acceptance in a way too, where it's like, I don't know, the energy you get from Orlando when it opens on them in that first scene is like very naive and childlike in a way, where you can sense like there still is a level of happiness, but there's also a darkness in them because they don't know who they are yet.
Yeah, and it feels a lot more urgent than like at the end. It feels very like
at ease.
At ease.
It's kind of like I got there, but also like excited for the future. Like there's always more to come, which is so great, because it's not even just like, oh, now it's on, now it's all for my daughter. It's like, no, it's still for you and your daughter.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense. Like, which again is just so, I'm like, wow, this is a 90s movie? Like, this doesn't feel like a 90s ending to this kind of story.
Yeah.
Because it's just so ahead of its time. But oh yeah, the bookend is brilliant. It made me tear up, honestly. It feels like such a journey. Like you've been with this person through everything.
Yeah.
And the costumes are so spectacular in this. It starts off so strong that you're almost like, can this get any better? Because
like from the jump.
From the jump, it's like the Elizabethan era. It's so grandiose. And like, I mean, Elizabeth, I think it's like Elizabeth I. Their costume, they set the standard of like opulence, and it's way too high. It's like, guys, how are we gonna do this? I mean, a gorgeous, enormous gown, the jewel detailing, the massive like collar, or I don't know what that's called, like a ruff or something like that.
Yeah.
That's like framing their face. It starts off so bold and strong, and then Orlando's outfit, which you started talking about, Ashley, with like the little tights and I love like again, we have some like Poor Things elements of like oversized puffy sleeves. And I feel like that really mirrors their sprightly little Shakespearean charm. Like they're,
Yeah.
I always call like the initial, like Ashley uses all these like official names because intelligence and expertise, and then I'm like the little goblin next to them being like, oh, that's the bubble butt look. Like that first look, like this little like pumpkin bubble butt, and it's just like so good. But no, like the 1600s is like so beautiful, like everything you're saying, Bella, where it's like these, like it's so warm and it's just like golds and oranges and reds and like there's not much like cool tones or anything like too dark. It's all just so like it feels so vibrant.
So rich too, like
Yes.
I just want to run my fingers through and like play with the jewels, like
Yes.
the amount of like jewelry and like appliques on it. Oh, I just
Right.
want to touch everything and look at everything. I'm so glad that they did so many up close shots of that too.
Yes.
It's so rich.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that you pointed out to me, Ashley, that I think is really interesting, and maybe you have further thoughts on this, and maybe some of like the mindset behind it. But like you pointed out that Queen Elizabeth is played by an actor who identifies as a man, Quentin Crisp. So what do you think that like means in terms of like gender as performance? Because you've got like Tilda, you've got Quentin Crisp. What are your thoughts of that?
I think it sets the stage for like fluidity.
Yes.
Totally.
And the queer, like the fact that this was born from a queer writer.
Yeah.
Like that's the heart of this story is people's queerness and like the fluidity of gender, of sexuality. And just like how there's not really like clarity and there doesn't need to be, and like they're kind of just throwing that away. Like that doesn't, it's not important. And like we don't need a female Elizabeth. And it's also really interesting too because like while Elizabeth is being played by a man, they very much are wearing female attire.
Right.
But you can like, you know, through the credits and also a little bit through the visuals that like there's something masculine about the person portraying Elizabeth, and then is seeking after, is kind of like very interested in another man. But not another, like, but Elizabeth is a woman and Orlando is a man, but Orlando looks like a woman through the lens of a modern audience. Like it's very like hard to wrap your head around, but also like it doesn't even matter, and like we're all kind of just accepting it and loving it. And maybe it's in part to the costumes and the set design, and you're just like, yes, I don't even like, I just want more.
Yeah. No, I think you nailed it. And like I loved how, you know, when Orlando is born a woman after like centuries, she's just like, oh, okay, still me. And that's it.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, new chapter, here we go. But same person. And like still Orlando, same name, you know, and I don't know, that was just I was so curious how they were gonna go about it. Cause that scene when Orlando wakes up and it's kind of almost like a birth of Venus moment when she's standing in the mirror and it's just like divine femininity, and I was like, oh, how are we gonna go about this? But it just goes, and I love that. It's just like flowing, you know.
Yeah, I love too that like everyone around her, I mean, there are some moments where they're kind of like double taking.
Oh yeah.
But it's very much of like, okay. And I don't know if it's because of the fact that they are a landowner and like have that status that it's like kind of just like, okay, that's fine. But like the only really big change is the fact that like now that they can tag her as this woman, she doesn't get her land.
They want to steal it.
Yeah.
But it's also really like, I think really necessary because throughout Orlando's journey, you're seeing the pluses and minuses of each sex, like each gender.
100%.
Just like when, oh God, the scene when they're in Constantinople and war breaks out and Orlando's given this opportunity to potentially kill people or has just killed someone and has seen the aftermath of that. And is very much like, well, I'm not like, I want to help these people. I know that they're the enemy, but like, And that's just very much not how a man would act. I mean, in the sense of like, if you are putting those kinds of like, a man does this and a woman does,
Yeah.
you know, that's not.
Yeah, they'd be like, it's the manly thing to do.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. You don't help your enemy. You
Yeah.
keep moving forward and killing them. And then that's the moment that Orlando has this realization of like, I don't want to be a man if this is what a man is. Like, this is not who I am. I'm not comfortable with this. And then, you know, immediately goes on this really long sleep. Has this really long sleep and becomes a woman. If only it was that easy in the sense of like, you were so determined that like, I don't want this. But, like, change happened within just a few naps.
Overnight. Oh, God.
Yeah.
Well, and also like talking about the differences of exploring like the male and female experience, like you have in the 1610s when Orlando, in the chapter of love, Orlando finds love in Sasha and like ditches the woman that he's betrothed to. You know, he has this conversation with Sasha about like, I think he says something like, I adore you, so you're mine, or something like that. And then
God, yes.
That same exchange rears its head once Orlando is now a woman. And I think it was the general that once commanded Orlando and said, you know, like, that's not a dying man, it's the enemy, is now saying like the same exact thing, being like, oh, I adore you, so you're mine. And then Lady Orlando's just like, no. Like, so it's this like dichotomy of experience where it's like, you know, Orlando, you once said the very same thing. Like,
yes. But now that you've had this lived experience,
exactly,
of like, now, you know, confronted with the fact that you don't get to keep your family estate because of the fact that you're a woman now. You're the same person. You just have breasts. And like,
yep.
And then to be told that by a man you're definitely not attracted to, not interested in at all, was kind of the catalyst for you changing sexes in the first place. Is like confronting you with this, and you're just like, no, not at all.
Yeah.
It's like getting a proposal that's just like, well, we're both not getting any younger, and I don't think we have any better prospects, so why not? It's like, oh yeah, that's really gonna sell me on it. Like,
I do think that he is very much interested in her, just based off of the fact that he's like, I've been interested in you when you were a man, when you're a woman. Like, I just am interested in who you are as Orlando, but like also, Orlando's not into it. So
I was talking more of like a general example.
Understood.
Well, yeah, and even in like the costuming, Orlando has such a rude awakening to being a woman, because like physically, in terms of, you know, it's the like, what is it?
Yes, 1750 as Lady Orlando.
And she's got that like, or they've got that like super tight corset, and it's like the Marie Antoinette kind of vibe.
Yeah, they're called panniers.
So good, but seems so uncomfortable.
Oh, 100%. And I think it's so interesting that like it's so large and it like takes up so much space. So it's this idea of like, I mean, you know, like a modern idea is taking up space in the world in terms of like, you know, making yourself known and all this stuff. And so like Lady Orlando literally is taking up so much space, but is still not like, is literally in a room of men that are like not talking to her at all, and that are talking about like when she decides to engage them about like, you know, they're talking about how much they hate women.
Yeah.
And so it's like she's taking up space but is still at this like lower, you know, status in their eyes.
it's like she's allowed to take up space, but she's not allowed to own any of it.
It's like sit there and look pretty.
Yeah.
But that's it.
You're an ornament.
Yeah.
I also thought that like that setting with it's like the lightest we've seen. It's like pastels, like everything looks like candy confections and ruffles and flowers, and like there's so much going on, and it's a really interesting looking at it in terms of like from a character standpoint. It's this like setting that feels so playful and full of like artifice and like it's very superficial, but it's serving as the stage for Lady Orlando's reckoning with her place in the world and as a woman. So it's like this extremely weighty, like heavy thing that she's going through, while all of the visuals are like super, confections of frivolity and it's just pretty.
So pretty and so sad.
Yeah, I know.
But then this chapter following it had my favorite costume, and I love. Yeah, so I loved the transition. I mean, this is probably one of the most iconic, I would imagine, one of the most iconic shots of the film is Orlando running through this maze, similar to like some of the Alice imagery.
Yeah.
The hedge maze in this giant dress that we've been talking about, and the blue one with flowers. And when they turn the corner, suddenly they're in this like, how do I describe it? It's just a much more like simple. It reminded me of Pride and Prejudice vibes a little bit. I mean, maybe because also all of a sudden Orlando's in like this field of mist, and she like stumbles upon a hot man on a horse riding out of the mist, and he falls, and they like roll over and are like, hey. It's such a great like silly meet cute. But I loved that costume so much, and then it launches into this kind of like love affair between Orlando and I don't remember his name. I should have written it down.
I think it's like Shelmerdine or something like that.
Shelmerdine. And I love this green dress that Orlando wears, the plaid one. I just thought that was so beautiful. And the way that the green complements like his green vest, and I don't know, just the way this whole scene is put together reminded me of like just a rainy, cozy day. And it just, I don't know, I thought it was so beautiful. And then also it's like, she's kind of being able to really be her own person in this new phase as well. And I feel like we see that in this dress and like other outfits to come. And this, I feel like this is also a big, like, I mean, there's so many turning points, but I feel like this was a big turning point in the film for Orlando.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It feels like I loved the atmosphere of this section because it almost feels kind of like within the Gothic tradition.
Yes.
And in kind of like, as you were talking, Bella, I was thinking about, because Gothic literature and, media, I hate putting those two words together. That just felt really wrong. Gothic media? Ew. Anyway. It's just two things that don't feel like they should go together. Like Gothic literature just sounds right. But like it's basically a genre or a milieu that is about like women alone in a house. It's like it's a women's like hauntings of houses and these women in the house, and the house is the woman's realm and all this kind of thing. And like at this point in the story, Orlando is living in a haunted house. It's like a house that's haunted by her at this point for hundreds of years. And it's also going to be like in this limbo of where she can't, the house is going to be taken from her. So it's almost like if we want to equate limbo and purgatory, you know, so it's the most, I hate to make everything about horror, but
Do you?
do I really?
No, do you?
So it's kind of like, you know, it's this film plays with a lot of different genres, and it kind of dips its toe within this like gothic ambiance where she is, you know, with Shamardine, and she's like nursing him back to health, and you know, she's in this haunted house of sorts, and there's all the mist and
Yes. Maybe that's probably why I loved it. I couldn't put my finger on it, but yeah, it is so like gothic literotica core. Like, yes, please. I mean, it's literally like the sex chapter, I'm pretty sure, of this film.
Yeah, it is. It's the sex chapter.
So yeah, I loved it.
I also love, like, I can't remember which one of you was saying, like, that so much happens, but, like, there's a full transformation in Orlando's thought process of, like, the way she views herself and love, too, where it's, like, I'm pretty sure, like, the moment where they're on the grass and there's all that mist, doesn't she, like, propose to him?
Oh, yeah, I think she does. I think she's just like,
I'm just like,
should we get married?
Yeah, or something like that. And then, like, at the end, when she's getting evicted, basically, and like, he's also leaving, it's kind of a moment of, like, will they, won't they? Will she go with him? And she's just like, you know what? I'm just gonna go do my own thing. Like, I'm a person of my own, and I'm not keeping this house. Like, I'm gonna go live my life for me, not follow this man.
Yeah. Who I feel like she realizes is kind of silly. Like, he's a little bit, I think she's realized she's like outgrown him, which sounds kind of mean, but it makes a lot of sense because she's also been around for centuries.
Yeah.
He's kind of like a proto fuckboy.
Yeah.
I think it's also like a great mirroring of Sasha, where, like,
the first love.
Yeah, the first love, where it's like she's really understanding women and their choices and, like, relishing in that. But I also think it's like an acceptance and understanding of, like, why Sasha might have made the choice she did.
Yeah,
totally.
Of going to live with her people and going back and, like, leaving. It wasn't all about Orlando and leaving Orlando. It was like, no, I have other people that, like, are already such a big part of my life, and, like, I've already decided these things, and you've made these choices without me, and I'm not okay with that. And so good.
Well, any final thoughts on Orlando?
Oh my goodness.
I feel like we could talk about this for
Orlando, it's such a beautiful, brilliant piece of art. You guys can check it out on demand. Check your local video stores, as always. All right, we're going to take a quick break. And during that break, you're going to hear from LADFF director and Gimme 3 producer Sonia Maru for an edition that we call Sonia's Movie Minute. We'll be right back.
Hello, I'm Sonia, and this is my Movie Minute. There are moments from films that you never forget. And one of those is when James McAvoy and Keira Knightley are caught having sex against the library bookcase in Atonement. It's memorable for several reasons. It starts off the events that drive the rest of the film and ultimately break your heart. It's also the culmination of the sexual tension that dominates the entire beginning of the film. The perfect touch, the icing on the cake, if you will, is how James's body is almost completely covering hers, besides her long, very white legs and arms, and the pop of color from the skirt of her gorgeous green dress. Atonement is one of my favorite movies, and although it's emotionally punishing, I go back to it again and again, because the beauty, grace, tragedy, and ugliness are so well done that I even enjoy all the crying. Every single piece of clothing in Atonement is perfect, thoughtful, memorable, and incredibly tactile. And that's thanks to the brilliant Jacqueline Duran. If you don't know Jacqueline by name, you certainly know her work. Barbie, Spencer, Cyrano, which nobody saw but everybody should, Little Women, The Batman, and Pride and Prejudice, just to name a few. She's the go-to collaborator for geniuses like Mike Leigh, Sam Mendes, Greta Gerwig, Steve McQueen, and Joe Wright. I read an interview with Jacqueline where she said that while the green dress gets all the attention, it's the nurses' uniforms that she loves best. So I'm here to say, yes, the nurses' uniforms are incredible. Bryony's cape that creates the big red X across her chest says everything about who she is and how she feels. Her very own scarlet letter of shame. And seeing Cecilia go from her delicate green dress to the drab, although somehow still hot on her, nurse's uniform only reinforces the power of what's been lost. Thank you, Jacqueline, for your beautiful clothes that tell the story of these beautiful characters.
Welcome back. We've been talking the art of costume design. So far, we've talked about Poor Things. We also just wrapped up the beautiful waltz through many eras in Orlando. And now Ashley's going to take us away with our final film of the day.
Beautiful. So our next film is brought to us by the director Stephen Elliott and was released in 1994, which is The Adventures of Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. Very long title and very well deserved. Okay, so a little bit about the film. Traveling across Australia's outback isn't easy. Try doing it as a gaggle of drag queens. 3 very different queens saddle up in a glam bus christened Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, for the promise of a well-paid gig. Driving through dangerous terrain, both emotionally and physically, all while wearing heels dripping in Swarovskis. The glitz, brought to you by Lizzy and Tim, might not atone bigots, but God does it leave the rest of us gagged. Costumes were designed by Lizzy Gardiner and Tim Chappel. Yeah, so I want to just quickly preface this where when I was trying to figure out what the 3 picks were going to be, it was like such a difficult process of like, do we want to do lots of period films? Do we want to do like, it was just really difficult trying to like hone it all in and figure out what we want these episodes to be. And Jess kind of made the suggestion of like, why don't we just watch this and just see if it's, if it's worth putting out there. And like, it was really important to me to share queer stories, being a queer person. And so we put this on, and there's an iconic scene where Felicia is dripping in silver and is atop of this moving silver bus, and it's just like a flag of silver behind the like trailing behind them on this bus. And it's just like the moment that showed up on the screen, I was like, it's it. This is the pick. This is going, people, like, if people haven't seen this, they need to see this. This needs to be a part of like, it needs to be burned into the retinas.
Yes. Yes.
So yeah, that was I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on the movie. Was there a favorite drag costume of yours? And if so, what was it?
I adore this movie. I can't remember when I first saw it. There were a bunch of queer movies that I saw very early on in like young high school on Logo. I don't know if Logo's still around, so RIP possibly Logo. But I would watch like that's like I know for a fact that's how I first saw But I'm a Cheerleader.
Oh,
And Imagine Me and You, and like all of like a bunch.
so good.
And like Lost and Delirious, and like Better Than Chocolate, and like all these like iconic, 90s, early 2000s queer films, and so I don't know if it was back then or if it was later on in life, but this movie is just like such a hug. And so it's always held a special place in my heart. And then also the drag looks were always, made me smile. And if I had to pick a favorite, it's very hard. I think it's a tie between the chandelier look for Mitzi when Mitzi finds out that he is a father, that they're a father, and also from the big performance with the light up wigs and the Sydney Opera House. when they take their skirts and make the Sydney Opera House like silhouette, I'm like, yes. Those are probably that's like a tie for my favorite drag looks from this.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, this was a first time watch for me. Thank you so much for putting me onto this. I mean, this is like a comfort film, I feel like. Like it just, like you said, it makes you feel so good. And there's so much joy, and the performances are just incredible. It feels like such an important story as well, and like still so relevant today. And like the costumes are simply the definition of fun. It's just, I don't know if I have a favorite. There's so many that I loved. I honestly really loved this kind of, I don't remember what they're performing. I think it's because they're traveling to all these different places, and I think it's the bar where we meet Bob, this other side character, and his wife who's banned from the bar. Cynthia for a very unique performance. But they get the main trio, Bernadette, Felicia, and Mitzi, get out there in this like trashy baby doll trio look. And, like,
yes.
It's like baby doll dresses, little tidy whities, just sleeves, like sleeve kind of socks-ish, like knee-high socks. I don't even know.
So odd.
It's so bizarre and just so like campy, trashy, but also like really cute pastels. And I thought that was so great. And the wigs are atrocious. And I just love it. It brought me so much joy. So I think that was one that really stood out for me. Second one would have to be in their big final performance. They have these like blue ostrich.
The ostrich hats!
The ostrich
like emo hats. Yeah.
Emo hat. They're, yes. And Guy Pearce makeup just looks so fucking good in that scene. And it's like, it almost gives him like a feather pixie cut.
Yes.
Yeah. I really loved it. So those are my top two, but there's so many to choose from. It's impossible. What about you, Ashley? Did you have a favorite or top three too?
It might be between Felicia's silver look on the bus, or I really love the lizards in the final lizards. They're so funny.
So
and I don't know
funny.
if it's the costumes or just that performance. Like he's like spinning, hissing lizards.
And all their tongues are black.
Yeah.
So that's like the main. They've got these big like
weird like fin gills.
Yes. They pop them up and they stick their tongues out, and it's like, what am I looking looking at right
Like,
now.
how is this drag, but also it is drag?
Exactly.
So good.
Outside of their like drag looks,
Mm-hmm.
when Adam's wearing this like crochet vest and
Yes.
this like silver choke, like medallion kind of choker, and then he has a matching one on his bicep. And I was like, oh, that's just such a good, like that alone. I don't even remember what he's wearing on the bottom. Sorry. But that alone, that image of him, I was like, he looks amazing. That's a star right there. And it's just like his normal outfit on the bus.
Yes. I feel like they all three had such great, like, out of drag, very distinct, different wardrobes, and really helped to tell the story of who they are, what their background is, what they care about, where they are mentally.
Totally.
And like it helps separate them as characters because you have like, you know, Adam's clothes, like you were saying, they're like super current for the time. They're really tapped into queer culture. You know, it's like 90s prints, chokers, meshes, sheer things. Like, you know, he's very like zeitgeisty. And then you have Bernadette, who is like timeless and elegant. This woman who, you know, is in stark contrast to Adam. She's wearing classic clothes and vintage styles for the time. Like, I think one of the first times we see her, like head to toe, is at her young lover, or husband rather, because she said that they were married, Trumpet's funeral.
Yes.
And she's wearing this black dress that is almost like 80s does 50s. Where, you know, it's like got these little diamond sequin pattern, and she has like the, you know, she just looks so elegant, and it's just like her through line. She's always looking like she's just like so pulled together. And then there's Adam. And then Ashley, you had like a really interesting thought about Mitzi.
I did.
I should say Anthony, not Mitzi so much.
Well, yeah. Something really interesting about Anthony is that when we see Anthony portraying Mitzi, she's so very like put together, figured out. She's got like drag on lock. And I think that shows that like that's where Anthony is putting his time and like understanding into. But Anthony is just like sad, dark, shapeless, and he's uncertain within himself, and so like doesn't know how to portray that to the world. Like he doesn't like who he is, so where does he begin to self-express?
Yeah.
Where like you have Adam, who's just like, and maybe it's the baby gay within him that he's just like so proud of. And maybe Anthony is jaded by his experiences, but
that's a good point.
Yeah, I thought that is a really good, and like to then see him as like when he finally gets acceptance from his son, we see him in like these light bright colors, and it's like he's now able to accept himself and is able to then figure out what that looks like.
And like a part of that I think was like in this rewatch for this episode, one of the things I noticed was that it like that really like scratched an itch for me with Anthony. Anthony is like, it made logistical, like logical sense. This next point that I'm going to say, and it also made character evolutionary sense. Is that towards the end of the film, like while they're still on the bus, we see him, it looks like he's almost like taking wardrobe from the other characters. So there's like a scene where he takes, like, he's wearing a shirt and I'm like, that's Bernadette's shirt. Like, I know
the loose linen one. Yeah.
Yes. I was like, I have seen Bernadette in that shirt. And like, it's in a scene where he's relating like really closely with her. And so I
Yeah.
was like, oh, this is really interesting. Like, I know logically, like if they run out of clothes, like they might need, he might need to steal some clothes from everybody. But also then there's like another scene when he's being a little bit more brash and a little bit more standoffish. He like has Adam's jacket on.
Oh,
And I was just like, this is really interesting. Like it's like a subliminal messaging of like, we have also come to like recognize these clothes so much with these characters that when Anthony's almost like putting them on like a costume or a mask to like give him some of their qualities.
Oh, that's fascinating. Yeah.
That is great. I wanna bring notice to like maybe I'm saying this selfishly, but how much costumes drove this film. There's a really big moment where after Priscilla has broken down, after she's been defiled by those townies that have defiled her, and in my mind, I didn't mention this before, but like in my mind, Priscilla is the fourth queen in this journey.
Yeah.
Like Priscilla is her own character and is going through this journey with them and is changing. Anyways, after she's been defiled with the phrase "AIDS fuckers go home," written in red paint, and the van breaks down. Adam decides I'm gonna paint her. He purchased some paint. He's gonna paint her in this pink paint all over, and Bernadette decides she's gonna go find help. She's done hanging out with these people. They're not doing anything productive, so she's gonna go find help. And she eventually finds help, but back at the base camp or the scene of the crime of Priscilla taking arrest, Adam is like, he's got this jumpsuit all like furled at his waist and like pink titties painted on him. He just looks like this crazy hot mess, but like in the best way. And then Anthony is wearing this like stretch green sequin gown, dancing in the desert.
With like hiking boots.
If we're gonna have this moment, I'm gonna rehearse.
Yeah.
This is the perfect time.
And you know, like in any other circumstance, like great, that's terrific. But Bernadette finds help, and it's these, you know, other outbackers who probably don't take light to flamboyancy within the male community. And they happen upon, you know, these two guys wearing what they're wearing, and they're just immediately like, no. I think they were already like hesitant about who Bernadette is, maybe uncertain about her gender, but when they happen upon Adam and Anthony, it's just like, okay, nope, they can't go through with helping them. And then to then later see the Aboriginal fellow who comes and helps them. It's just so beautiful to see this, like, this person who has clearly also dealt with discrimination.
Yep.
Sees these people, doesn't matter their orientation, that they need help and like helps them.
And that the community welcomes them.
They all come together to help these people who are in need. And it's just so beautiful to see, like, because when those people in the car drive away, I'm just like, oh God, what are they gonna do now? This was their one hope.
Yeah.
And like, I felt so sad at like those people not willing to help these people in need. And then in my own self, I felt like, well, does that mean that like you have to hide who you are in order for like to be accepted and helped? And like, it just felt a little hopeless. And then there's this moment where you're like, no, it's just that those, like, you don't need to dull yourself down. It's just that some people are assholes.
Yeah.
And like the right person came along and then accepted them exactly as they were. And then they put on this fabulous like drag number for them, and they opened it with with open arms, and then the dude that rescued them got, you know, all dolled up in drag as well and performed with them, and then like the community like had like it was like a back and forth, like playing the didgeridoo and incorporating it into it was just like this beautiful joyous moment
Yes.
together. And it was like, yeah, they just didn't, you know, they needed to find the right people, and
Totally.
this Aboriginal community was like, those were the people.
Yeah. The acceptance and then like the celebration.
I think I cried in that moment. It was just like,
Oh, I do too. That always gets me.
It's so
I
beautiful.
was like, oh my God, there's nothing wrong with the way that they are. It's just, what's wrong is those people claiming to be good citizens discarding them.
Yeah.
Just for existing and showing up as like their true self.
Yes.
Yeah. They're like, oh my God, thank you so much. And then they just drive
And
away.
then dust.
It's horrible. Yeah. And of course, Adam is like, well, you can't be dressed like that. I told you green isn't your color, Anthony.
Yes. Yeah, it's the green that drove them away.
So good.
Oh my God. I do want to make sure that I call out Terrence Stamp's performance as Bernadette in this. It's just so beautiful. Bella and I were talking about this the other day. And also, rest in peace, Terrence Stamp, because I believe he passed away. Was it in March?
Yeah.
Wow.
But just recently.
That's right.
But his performance was so nuanced.
Mhm.
And he really did Bernadette justice, and it never felt exploitative or like poking fun. Like, you just loved Bernadette.
Yeah.
And wanted the best for her.
Mm-hmm.
And her connection with Bob was fantastic. And like,
cute.
yeah, it was just absolutely lovely. Even though girl cannot dance.
Oh no.
No.
I love Bernadette to pieces, but she was not the strongest performer
No.
in their drag numbers.
Not a triple threat.
Not quite. But always classy.
Yes.
Always classy.
Yeah, that's what I loved about her is like I noticed that she's always wearing white outside of drag as well. And I just loved it because I feel like, you know, she wants to be taken seriously. And she's so pure and true and authentic to herself. And that like comes through in just obviously the incredible performance, but even through her costumes. And she's just always she's like the portrait of desert class. Like she's got her sun hats and sunglasses and scarves and flowy sets, perfect lipstick at all times. I mean, it's just so iconic. Yeah, I have to admit, she was my favorite character. Like I just felt I fell in love with Bernadette, and I was in love with her kind of like love story with Bob. And the way that evolved and was just like always kind of like brimming underneath the surface. Like they didn't need to go. I would have loved to see them like get together, but I kind of love that it was just one of those things where she's like, you know, in the end, she's like, I'm going to stay here where Bob is to see things through and like put myself first. And because she's kind of like mother on the trip. Like you guys said, she goes and finds people to help them when they're in trouble, and her two children are just like playing dress up, like around
arts and crafts and dress up. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And like respect, but also we need to get shit done. And so I loved that ending, that closure of her character of like, I'm gonna do this for myself and see things through. And just loved her.
And it's like the love she deserves, because at the beginning she's talking about just kind of like this relationship she had of convenience, like of, oh yeah, it just like, it was fine, but you know, and she loved like what Trumpet gave her, but it wasn't love in a lot of ways. And then relationship with Bob, she like actively fights it for a while, because it's kind of like, being vulnerable and also accepting her age in a way because he's older. And, it's a lot of different elements, but it's ultimately like this person who is going to treat her well and like goes out of his way to try and show care and like respect for her, and like get to know her on a deeper level. And so it's more of what she deserves.
100%.
Yeah.
I also want to note that the opening song for Mitzi is perfect, which is I've been to paradise, but I've never been to me. And it's all about her journey of self-discovery. That's the whole movie. So like to open with that song.
That's so beautiful.
I've showed this look to Bella. I don't know if Ashley has seen what the costume designer, Lizzy Gardiner, what she wore to the Oscars ceremony for this film.
No.
So Lizzy Gardiner originally wanted to have in the film a like full-length dress made out of credit cards. And none of the credit card companies would let her do it for the film. So they ended up doing the flip-flop dress, which is still great. But by the time that this film was nominated for an Oscar for Best Costume Design, a lot of credit card companies, they changed their tune. And so American Express gave her gold cards and gave her this she made this dress to go to the Oscars and they won. Her and Tim Chappell won for Best Costume Design for The Adventures of Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. And it is, on IMDb at least, their first costume design credit.
Goals.
Yeah.
I know!
That is insane.
And then Lizzy Gardiner went on to costume design Bound. That was her next film. So, iconic lesbians for the Wachowskis.
Lucky woman. Yeah. Wow.
Hit after hit, Lizzy.
Truly.
Also, she did recently costume design Megan.
Oh.
If you're thinking of like that iconic dress that Megan wore and that was like the costume heard all around Halloween with all of these little
That's true.
These little Megans running around. We have Lizzy Gardiner to thank for that as well.
That's so amazing. Cultural cornerstone right there.
So we talked about all of these like beautiful, amazing things about this film. I do have one critique.
Let's hear it.
Yes.
Critique time.
I got my critique cap on. What's going on with the tucks? The tucking. The tucking is a little shameful.
It's a little lax.
It's a lax tux. The lax tux. What are these banana hammocks flinging around? Like, what? Was it a choice?
It must have been because, yeah, there was zero time.
Was like duct tape not as good in the 90s as it is today? Like, yeah, I was just like, that was honestly, that's my only note. Is like,
yeah, that's a good note for drag.
It is, and I second the lax tuck, and I do, as much as I like, I really love Cynthia's character, Bob's first wife, because I think that she has like just such a kick-ass personality, and like all she wants to do is like go and do her special dance number. And like she has goals for her life, and she has a lot of agency, but there is in the way that the character was wrought, like Bella and I were talking about this and how like there were like some letterbox reviews about some problematic representation. And so I think that her character could have been wrought with a little bit more delicacy, that was like shown to the Aboriginal community. They weren't like, espousing stereotypes, but there was a little bit for Cynthia.
Yeah.
In terms of her character, I really liked her character, but I think that there was maybe some varnish of stereotyping that they painted her with for like laughs. Yeah.
I see that for sure. And like when I immediately see her costumes, I'm just very much like, these are tacky. And then I'm thinking, then like my mind goes to like, are they like leaning on stereotypes? And like that doesn't seem okay. But then also a lot of the other costumes are also really gaudy and in great ways. Like they're doing their job. That's what they need to be.
Yeah.
So it's very like complicated. But I do think when watching it, you do kind of feel a little bit like something's not right with the way she's being portrayed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Those are my own. I agree with both of those. Other than that, it's a perfect movie.
It's all about the power of drag to bring people together.
It is. It's so wonderful and
found family.
Yes, found family.
Yeah, that's what I love too.
You know what? I do have one more thought.
Here we go.
Not a critique. I think it's so beautiful when we're introduced to Marion, Anthony's wife. She's in these like bright, loud, stylish clothes. And it's just so wonderful to see this queer woman who's just like accepting of herself and like isn't afraid to really just like showcase herself to the world and like be bold. And you see it in the way that she's parented her son.
Yeah.
And to see that difference of where she's at with her journey of self-acceptance and Anthony, who's in this black hole.
Totally. She's a great character.
She really is. And I also love your note about how she parented their kid, because like just his responses to things, you know, when he's having his conversation with Anthony, and he's just like, "Oh, are you gonna have a boyfriend when you get back to Sydney?" And Anthony's just like, "Yeah, maybe." And he's just like, "That'd be good." Parenting.
Yeah.
Just like the acceptance and the, you know, he just wants his parents to be happy.
Yeah. I mean, those scenes with his son, I was just a wet mess, like just tears streaming the whole time.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, he loves his father no matter what, which is true for most kids. It's like they just want like to be loved and accepted themselves. So like,
yeah,
so beautiful.
It's just comes down to like the values that their parents passed down to them in ways, and this family got it together, man.
Yep.
They're a very loving family, and it's just so wonderful to see.
That kid is going to have so many beautiful soul people looking out for him.
Yeah. And so much fun. Such a great childhood. And yeah, we'll be so loved and cared for. Yeah, the ending is so sweet. It's just leaves a smile on your face. Well, check it out, everyone. You can rent this movie on demand. Check your local video stores. Well, that's a wrap on part 2 of The Art of Costume Design. We started with Holly Waddington's Oscar-winning work for Poor Things. Thank you, audience, for voting and for picking such a brilliant film. We then dove into Sandy Powell's visionary designs in Orlando and ended with Lizzy Gardiner's unforgettable costumes in The Adventures of Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, both selected by Ashley. Ashley, thank you so much for joining us. Your insight, expertise, and love for the artistry of costumes just made this episode such a treat. Plus, you picked some seriously amazing movies for us to talk about.
Thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure being here. I've had such a great time getting to explore these films with you guys.
I love to hear it. And Jess, as always, such a treat to have you here as well. Thank you so much for coming back. You two are welcome anytime.
No, thank you. It is my express pleasure. I always look forward to talking about movies, but definitely doing it with such amazing and wonderful people, such as you and Nick. And I'm so happy to support the beautiful brain of my partner, Kae Snyder. in this episode, these 2 episodes.
Thank you.
Well, as we close out this 2-part series, we want to celebrate the artistry of costume designers everywhere. Their work shapes the worlds that we get to see on screen. It inspires us long after the credits roll, as you can see, and brings characters to life in ways that words alone never could.
I also want to give a quick shout out to all of the crafts people and supervisors who manage all of these extremely amazing costumes and like the quantities that they're in. It takes a village, and like huge villages. So without them, these pieces wouldn't exist also. So
absolutely. And you know what? We're going to be posting some very fun stills and photographs of behind the scenes or costume sketches. Stay tuned on Gimme Three's Instagram. That's GIMME, spell out 3 podcast. And really quickly, if you love the podcast and you want to support the show even more, here are 2 quick things that go a long way. 1, setting our episodes to auto download. This way you guys can listen to us anytime, no matter where you are in the world, and it helps boost the show. We also have a Patreon for just $5 a month. Access bonus episodes, exclusive content, support the show. It helps us keep the mics on. Ashley, do you want to tell the lovely listeners where to find you on the socials and if you have any upcoming projects you want to shout out?
Of course. Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at Ashley K Costumes. And then my mentor, Camille Benda, as well as Gwen Conway, have a book coming out in November that I helped them with image research and clearance on. It's called Bending the Rules. It's a beautiful book about gender expression through fashion.
Ah, that sounds amazing. Definitely keeping an eye out for that. And Jessica, you want to tell the people where they can find you and any upcoming projects you have?
Upcoming projects is a very long list, so I can't get into it right now.
To be continued.
But there's always something cooking over here. So you can find me on Instagram or other socials by searching for @TheOrigMC, which is ORIGMC with the at the beginning.
And you guys can find me on Instagram at Portrait of a Cinephile or on Letterboxd at BFstratus. Thanks again for joining us on the Gimme 3 podcast, and we will see you at the movies.